Chapter 28. My father peels back the bandages to show me the scar running from his wrist to the crook of his arm. I close my eyes for a moment, resting my forehead against his shoulder. Daddy, it's all right now, my copper penny, he says. I'm here. I was gone for a while, but I'm here now. He presses the bandages back in place and holds his arm up as we walk to the day room. When people pass us, I try not to stare. I want to see crazy close up, though. Understand this thing that Anna says our father is. Because if it's in him, it's in me. His craziness, my inheritance. Some of the people shuffle when they walk, their heads hanging down, but the few people who pass us look regular, like anyone walking down the street. Their backs straight, their steps are sure as mine. The hallways here are painted white and smell like medicine and pine cleaner. Muffled voices drift out of the rooms on either side of us. Otherwise, it is quiet. So much quiet in such a big space. When I look at my father's face, the quiet is there, too. No, not quiet maybe, something else. Peace. At the end of the hall, there is a solarium. Ceiling to floor windows, plants everywhere. The room feels like springtime. Outside, though, the sky is gray. My father nods at a couple of people. They are dressed as he is, in loose-fitting sweats and pull-on sneakers. Hey, Evan, a pretty nurse says. Is this one of the daughters? My father smiles and introduces me. I move a step closer to him, holding on to his good arm, feeling proud to be one of his daughters, even here. I am nearly as tall as he is. Maybe this happened a long time ago. We find wicker chairs by the windows and sit facing each other. My father looks at me for a long time, his gaze so intense. I look away, beneath to scratch my ankle even though it's not itching. Doctor says the surgery was successful, he says. He holds his arm out and makes a fist. The bandages are as white as the walls. The bowl went through some nerves when I did what I did. He looks off away from me. I'm glad I'm here now. Yeah? He looks at me and smiles. Yeah. Are you glad you're alive? For the quickest moment, his face crumbles, but he catches it and nods. I am so glad I'm alive, Evie. So glad we all are. We get quiet again. At practice, Coach tells us to run for our lives. One day, I might tell him that I've already done that. Watch his face get that puzzled look he gets when one of us makes a crack that he doesn't understand. My whole family, Coach, I might say, we're all runners. You have every right to be mad, my father says now. I'm not mad. How could you not be, Evie? You have so many things to be mad about. Like us leaving Denver? My father nods. Us leaving Denver, coming here. He holds up his bandaged arm. This? I stare down at my hands. I wasn't mad. I couldn't be. All this time I've been thinking about all the stuff we'd lost. Our friends, grandma, our names, some stupid old clothes. But my father, he'd lost everything. Everything he'd ever known. The morning the lieutenant pinned that medal to his chest, Daddy had looked over at us and grinned. Grinned like the world was complete, like he had found perfection. You wanted to save our lives, I said finally. That's what I wanted, my father says. But what about what you wanted, Evie? He looks around the solarium, takes a deep breath. I shrug. It goes somewhere, Daddy. It goes out of me. I used to be mad about everything. I used to hate this place and all the people in it. I'd stand in the middle of the schoolyard and just shut every single part of me off. I lean closer to him, gently touch his bandages. I want to ask him about right and wrong. When do you know what's what? I want to believe he did the right thing. When we were little, my grandmother used to always say, in all you're getting, get understanding. I want to get understanding now. There is soft music being piped in around us. Daddy listens to it for a moment, his eyes closed, his head moving the tiniest bit. I don't know what I want, Daddy. Not yet. Not anymore. I have some new ideas, though. Big Evie Thomas ideas. Coach Lee says he thinks I'm going to break records one day. He says my running reminds him of some of the greatest quarter-milers that ever hit the track. You got a lot of practice ahead of you, he says, smiling. And a lot of promise, Spider. When he says this, I get a feeling so deep, like I can do anything. There's a fire inside of me. It burns and burns. Anna says she believes there's a reason for everything that happens, even us coming here. Some mornings, I think about what Lulu used to say about God having set our stage long before we were even in this world. I think about my own stage, how in the middle of the play, God said, "Cut." I think in the middle of everything, God changed his mind and maybe, just maybe, came up with a better idea. I smile and take my father's hand, thinking my life is a rewrite. I hope this is the last revision. "Daddy," I said, "tell me about when you first knew you wanted to be a cop." My father looks at me. He seems confused for a moment, but then his smile comes, slowly, but it comes. The old smile, Daddy's smile. It creeps up from his face like all those memories of our days before here and all those sweet promises. A lot of promise of what's ahead of us. Me and Daddy stare at each other for a long time. Two old buddies who knew each other when.